Welcome back, everybody. Today, the Denver Broncos return in this Madden NFL 25 franchise rebuild in a bit of a different format. It has been a long, arduous road in year 2 after a pretty disappointing end to our first season, and we're going to chronicle the end of year 2 today, the entirety of the second offseason, and the entirety of the year 3 regular season as well. These are the Rock Bottom Broncos. After a very back-and-forth start to this second year, things have quickly gone downhill as the Broncos find themselves on a 5-game losing streak. Many of these games these last 3 in fact, coming by 2 or more possessions. We allowed nearly 50 points against Chicago back in Week 11. We put up only 15 against the Raiders in Week 12. And the week after that, we only put up 16 in a 15-point loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. And now we come on the other side of the bye week with 4 games left on the season, and we are 5-8. This team as a whole has really struggled. Bo Nix, coming off a year where he threw a lot of interceptions, has thrown 10 so far this year and has a rating still below 100. He's been sacked 30 times. Our ground game has been one of the worst across the entire NFL, with nobody averaging more than 28.7 yards per game. Now, Kamara has 8 touchdowns, but our average per run has been really bad across the board. We've thrown the ball a lot more than passing, so our receiving stats look a lot better than our ground game, but this defense has been one of the worst all year long. We have not gotten consistent pressure on opposing quarterbacks. We have forced a handful of turnovers, but it has not been enough to stop us from being one of the worst teams on defense throughout this second season. And despite us having Pat Surtain and drafting both Luke Blackstock and Jamal Barber last season, this pass defense is still a bottom 3 pass defense in the NFL, and that is not going to win you games against teams like the Chiefs, who are in our division. All that being said, we do bring in one of our last contract extensions of the year with Zach Allen on a new 3-year, about $30 million offer. He will enter this next offseason with about $90 million in cap room, and I think I'm just going to let a lot of these other guys just walk. So that means Garrett Bowles, Donovan Wilson, Josh Reynolds all will become free agents entering the 2026 offseason. Now we can just go ahead and just wrap up year 2. No point spending too much time here in this year because we're really bad and we're looking towards the future. In year 2, it ends as poorly as we had left off last time around. We end off the year with a 9-game losing streak after being 5-3 to open the year. 9 straight L's, including 4 after the bye week, and this is a year to forget. The Broncos in 2025 with the 31st ranked offense in points per game, the 19th ranked pass offense, and the 30th ranked rushing offense. But things are worse on defense. 27 points per game allowed, good for second to last in the league. A 26th ranked pass defense with nearly 245 yards of offense through the air allowed per game, and the number 30th ranked rush defense, over 100 yards allowed on the ground on average per week. Every single aspect of this team needs work, and I think defense has to be a focus for us along with the ground game. By the end of year 2, Coach Levy would choose to fire both OC Todd Walters and defensive coordinator Mike Tomlin, in their place hiring Will Hudson as the new OC and Jack Parker as the new defensive coordinator. The 2025 playoffs would see the Ravens go on to become the AFC champions, playing in the Super Bowl against the 6th-seed NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. In the Pro Bowl, the Broncos would end up with Alex Singleton, Pat Surtain, and surprisingly, rookie corner Luke Blackstock, the only 3 players to make the Pro Bowl for the Denver Broncos. Meanwhile, AFC West rival Patrick Mahomes would go on to win another MVP award, while Blackstock wins AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year with his teammate Barber coming in third place. Pat Surtain goes on to win Best Defensive Back in the conference, and we would get some really good news depth trait-wise, where Luke Blackstock goes from normal development as a rookie to superstar dev entering his second season. Alongside 2 skill points, really good foundation being set here for the defense and for this secondary, as Luke Blackstock looks to become kind of a light version of Pat Surtain himself. And more good news would come up next. Chris Abrams-Drain, superstar development, and he was not the only one. Baron Browning goes up to X Factor depth trait, entering his 5th year as a pro player. A great foundation for this team's future and for this defense, which was struggling for the first 2 years in this series. The Ravens go on to blow out Philadelphia 37-13 to win their 3rd title game in franchise history. That would take us into the second offseason of the franchise, with the Broncos now holding the 4th overall pick and 6 in the top 102 picks in this next NFL draft. Meanwhile, Andy Dalton and Garrett Bowles both retire on a pretty sour note here in Denver. 15 years for Dalton, 9 years for Garrett Bowles, and they're both done. And 16 players would look to become free agents entering the open market, with the Broncos having $88 million to spend in cap room. They would have several top spots of need, starting with left tackle, defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, strong safety, backup quarterback, backup running back, and kicker. All of these spots where we don't really have a surefire starter or a good backup in case somebody goes down, or in case you want to try a different look out. But our first move would be to release Alvin Kamara, who is now 31 years old, 9 years of experience, but trying to free up some room for a free agent running back and get Greg Cook some more playing time in his second season. There was a lack of interest in the open market from all of the top free agents except for Odafe Owe, but the top 20 players were really not showing any intrigue in terms of coming to Denver in the next year. And the first 2 signings would be to bring in Zadarius Smith at left end and Sam Howell to bring in a young option at quarterback in case Bo Nix does not improve or in case he happens to regress in his 3rd year, while Smith gives us defensive end depth in case we don't draft an edge rusher in the NFL draft. 2 more signings joined the class soon after, with David Montgomery being brought in to replace Alvin Kamara as the #1 primary tailback in Denver, pinning a 2-year, $10 million deal, while DJ Reader pins a 1-year deal worth $15 million to be the starting defensive tackle and give Denver some defensive help against the run. A couple days later, McCole Hardman signs a 2-year deal worth about $19 million to become the potential #1 wide receiver alongside Marvin Mims and Courtland Sutton. He gives us a lot of speed and big playability. And the final move would be to sign Rasheed Walker, a left tackle at 26 years old, to be a potential starter in case nobody is drafted at his position in the NFL draft. That will leave us with $35 million in cap room to spend during the next year to roll over and give us help in the next offseason as well. And the entire conference as a whole would strike out on many of the top available players. Only 3 of the top 20 to 25 talents in the open market would choose AFC teams over NFC teams. More than 90% choose to go to the opposite conference of Denver. And that would take us to the 2026 NFL Drafts. The first pick belongs to the Washington Commanders, and with it, they select Tim Carter, first overall, a defensive end. Next pick belongs to Minnesota, and they take a left tackle, the top guy available, Nick Banks, with the 2nd overall pick. The pick after this would belong to the Seattle Seahawks. So 3 NFC teams in front of Denver to open this draft. And with the 3rd overall pick, Seattle would select outside linebacker, edge rusher John Walden, who was at the top of my board coming into this NFL draft. That would take us to the 4th overall pick with 3 options that we were looking at, starting with Marvin Lowry, who is a finesse edge rusher, a scheme fit at left outside linebacker, a spot of need for us. He's quick, he's strong, he's fast, he is very agile. He's also a very smart player and just seems to be a really good overall athlete with some really good pass rushing upside. The option behind him would be Garrison Moorhead, another round 1 projection, a power edge rusher who can play defensive end or play outside linebacker as that edge rusher. He's fast, he's strong, but does lack some agility. Pat Gardner was the 3rd option, a top 5 projected pick at right outside linebacker. He's a speed rusher with more unknown traits, but great speed, acceleration, and strength. The Broncos would ultimately end up choosing the first of these 3 options, Marvin Lowry, with the 4th overall pick, a finesse moves, and he is ranked number 30 in true value, a competent speed rusher, average speed for a linebacker, but does show some really good instincts, and he is going to be an automatic starter on this defense with 84 speed and 77 strength, but also normal development. With the 4th pick of round 2, we had 2 guys to ultimately choose from, starting with Jamian Hurts, a round 1 to 2 projected defensive end, a power rusher with raw power, but no injury concerns, who's smart, with high awareness and high play rec. And his competitor for this pick would be Dave Hawthorne, a strong safety who would probably come in and start over Brandon Jones, 2nd in the Combine and Pro Day with that 40-yard dash, great speed, elite jumping, a zone coverage guy with great athleticism, but concerns about his height at 5'9", and the immediate coverage ability being relatively low. And ultimately, that would scare the Broncos off, and they would go on to draft Jamian Hurts with the 4th overall pick in the 2nd round. He would be a top 10 true value pick with good strength, power, and technique to shed blocks, and would be a consistent power move guy that can win pass rush reps. And he ends up with hidden development, 78 speed and 88 strength at 22 years old, a really solid 2nd round pick to add to Denver's pass rush. And the Broncos were not yet done at drafting defensive talent. This time in round 3, pick 4, taking linebacker Kelvin Davis, who's got a block shed, a tackle, a hit power, B zone coverage, C man coverage, really good play rec, good awareness, a really smart overall player that can give you some pass coverage skills and really good run stopping ability. He ends up being a top 33 player in true value, nearly a 1st round talent. He can quickly diagnose plays and is a very consistent tackler as a top 5 speed linebacker at right outside with a top 5 40-yard dash in his pro day and the combine. He would end up with normal developments, but then our focus would shift 2 picks later to the offensive side of the football. The Broncos would be taking Pat Rodriguez here in the 3rd round with their 2nd selection of the round. He is a very athletic specimen, 6'6", 265, possession guy from Iowa, one of the tight end factories in college football. He ends up being number 56 in true value. We get him at 70. He even played college basketball for a couple of years, has soft, reliable hands, and really good speed for a tight end, especially of his size. And he does end up with hidden development, 86 speed, good agility, strength, jumping. What a pick for the Broncos. He would stick with offense in the 4th round at pick 4, taking wide receiver Cam Hobson, who actually skipped the Combine and the Pro Day. Now, there were a lot of questions about him and his current ability, but he would be drafted despite only a couple of trades being fully revealed with a spectacular catch. He does end up being a slight reach, but still a good overall pick, number 124 in true value. We get him 24 picks earlier at 100. He also ends up with hidden development, making it 3 now in this 2026 draft class. Then, with our 2nd to last pick, the Broncos would go to their offensive line and look to get a project left tackle and Tracy Hobbs to hopefully build behind Rasheed Walker and train him up for a couple years and see if we can make him our starter in a couple of seasons. He ends up being number 170 in true value. We get him at 102. He's got good pass pro technique, will not get overwhelmed by power because of that 82 strength. He's 6'4", 307, but does not have any hidden depth traits. Our final pick would come in the 7th round, and we would take a kicker to replace Will Lutz, who was our kicker the last 2 seasons. He was the best guy available, the most kick accuracy, the highest kick power. We would take him with the final pick of our draft, number 187 in true value. We get him 9 picks later at 196. He made 91% of his kicks in college, has decent leg power, should be a solid pick for us on special teams. And that would take us to the review of the class, the 2026 recap. Marvin Lowry, the first round pick that we took, normal development, but does have nearly 80 finesse moves, solid speed, and has many of traits that you look for in a pass rusher like him. A pass rusher linebacker style, spin move, bull rush, strip ball, high motor, and will not really get caught for too many penalties. Jalen Hurts might be the highlight, though, of this class. The 77 power moves, hidden developments, swim move, bull rush, balanced penalty tendency, good awareness starting out, really solid player. Kelvin Davis would get moved to middle linebacker right outside of the draft. He ends up being the number 62 ranked middle linebacker in the NFL and has a coverage linebacker style despite being able to play the run very well. He also has a spin move, so he could be kind of an all-around linebacker in a couple of years. But Pat Rodriguez is the standout offensive player that we took in this draft. A very athletic specimen, 86 speed, nearly 80 catching, 84 acceleration, with aggressive catch, possess and catch, run after catch, fight for yards on big hits, cover ball, everything you want in a guy of his size and caliber, and he would get ample playing time going into his rookie season. Then at wide receiver, we did take Cam Hopson, who is 6'5", 224, not that smaller, at least height-wise compared to Rodriguez. He's a very big wideout with 88 speed and acceleration, good agility, solid jumping, pretty good release for a receiver in their rookie year. He also has aggressive and possess and catch with fight for yards and on big hits cover ball. So 2 guys that could be a big part of this team's offensive future. Then our last offensive pick was Tracy Hobbs, that project left tackle. He has a lot to work on, especially in the run game, but his pass pro stuff is actually in a pretty good spot starting out. If Walker gets hurt or plays poorly, Hobbs might come in to play for the Broncos. And finally, our final pick was Seth Stewart, 88 kick power, 80 kick accuracy, nothing special, but we're going to try and just train him up and make him better as he moves through the rest of his career. Now, the guys that we thought about taking, Garrison Moorhead and Pat Gardner, each had hidden development. They were 1 overall higher and lower than we got Marvin Lowry at pick 4. Dave Hawthorne, who we thought about taking in round 2, at safety also has hidden development, so maybe perhaps a couple of missed opportunities here, but I like the Jalen Hurts pick in round 2. I think it's better than taking Dave Hawthorne at a spot where we already kind of have a starter in Brandon Jones. But this would be the starting lineup heading into year number 3 with the Broncos. Bo Nix still your starting quarterback, while Rasheed Walker, Ben Powers, Drew Dahlman, Quinn Maynertz, and Mike McGlinchey make up the starting offensive line. At tight ends, you've of course got Greg Dulcich coming back in his 4th or 5th year, with Pat Rodriguez being trained behind him to potentially overtake him later on in the year as a starter. At receiver, you've got Marvin Mims Jr., Courtland Sutton, McCall Hardman, Cam Hopson, Troy Franklin, a very young group, all things considered, but 2 veteran guys in McCall Hardman and Courtland Sutton. Overall, a really solid 5-out group at wide receiver. And then at running back, David Montgomery and Greg Cooks as your top 2 tailbacks in the backfield. On to defense. This secondary is looking very promising. We've got Pat Surtain, Blackstock, and Chris Abrams-Drain, all guys with superstar Denver hire. We've also got Jamal Barber coming into his 2nd year, alongside Brandon Jones back as the starting box safety. We've got the rookies Marvin Lowry and Jamie Hurts stepping in at edge rusher, with Chris Barnes and Tyrell Dotson taking over at middle linebacker as Singleton was a free agent. We let him walk. Baron Browning, X Factor, entering his, most anticipated year, really, because now he has the X Factor depth trait, hoping for a more productive year compared to his last one. And we got Zach Allen and Reader as the final pieces in the starting 11. In nickel and dime, we're going to have Chris Abrams-Drain play the slot, Baron Browning as the rush left end, Zach Allen rush defensive tackle, Lowry at rush right end, and Dotson as the sub linebacker, while Mims is the opening slot guy, with Montgomery as the primary tailback in every single down. But he would miss the first 4 weeks of the year with a foot fracture. We also missed Drew Dahlman for opening night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So a couple of key injuries were not fully healthy. Year 3 for the Broncos would begin on the road in Pittsburgh to face the Justin Fields-led Steelers in Acrisure Stadium. The Broncos would have the ball first, opening drive of the season. That pass is caught by Cortland Sutton for a gain of 8 on the first play from scrimmage. Third down, Bo Nix delivers a strike. It's Pat Rodriguez turning upfield. Tackle made at the 50-yard line. The rookie tight end makes his first NFL catch right there. Now Bo Nix slings it again, complete this time to McCole Hardman. 3 different receivers get involved early on here on the first drive of the new campaign. Now trying to extend the play, Nix will take off and has first down yardage and more, all the way inside the 10-yard line. A gain of 29 yards for Bo Nix. Couple plays later, goal to go, and touchdown Denver. Cortland Sutton comes across the middle. First drive of the year, a very impressive touchdown drive from Denver. Pittsburgh on the move now, 4:26 and counting left to go in the first quarter. Fields escapes pressure, has a first down and a whole lot more. Breaking a tackle up to the 12 as the fumble rolls out of bounds. Pittsburgh trying to tie things up. The pass is floated and caught by Pat Freiermuth. First couple drives of the year going back and forth here in the opening quarter of play. 2 minutes left to go. Denver gets the ball back. Second down pass caught. That is Greg Dulcich up to the 44. Now Denver looks to go play action. Pass caught. It's McCole Hardman zipping up the field. He is absolutely gone off to the races. 56 yards for a touchdown, and Denver is looking pretty damn good on offense. The first touchdown catch in a Broncos uniform for McCole Hardman, already showing off that big playability. Now trailing by a touchdown, here's Justin Fields. Pocket collapsing, and Baron Browning gets home for his first sack of year 3. He's got X Factor depth trait now on that nice little contract, and they are held to a field goal attempt, but a flag comes in on the attempt, which was no good, from Boswell, and Riley Moss hits the kicker. The drive continues for the Steelers. Fields, touchdown, George Pickens. A costly mistake on special teams leads Pittsburgh to a touchdown drive instead of a 4-point deficit, and we are tied here in the first half. But still over 8 to go. Broncos have it. They give it to Greg Cooks on the ground. He picks up first down yardage. Now back to throw. Bo Nix has McCole Hardman wide open in 2+ territory at the Pittsburgh 40. Time to throw, and a beautiful pass caught downfield. That is Marvin Mims Jr., now the #1 wide receiver on this Broncos depth chart. Play fake, pass caught, diving in. It is a touchdown for the Broncos once again, their third of the half. and the first receiving touchdown in the career of Pat Rodriguez. What a start to his year. A couple of nice grabs, and now his first NFL touchdown. The Broncos are looking really strong here offensively in the opening half of the year. But the Steelers aren't done yet here in the first half as Fields completes that pass over the middle. Now 3rd and 2, and Fields takes off. Up the guts, tackled by Browning, but now over 100 yards rushing in the first half alone. He scrambles again, inside the 5, brought down by Pat Surtain. And it's goal to go Steelers. Fields over the middle, number 2 to Pat Freiermuth. A back and forth affair, high scoring first half to open the year. The Broncos have a chance to tack on even more before we get to halftime. Bo Nix throws a pick though at the 1-yard line, looking for Hardman, and just did not see the safety coming over. That is Jackson with the INT. Really good coverage downfield. And we go to halftime. 21-21. What a game so far. Steelers start the second half with the football as Justin Fields scrambles again. He continues to dominate us on the ground. Now from the 50, they give it to Najee Harris. Up to the 31-yard line, gain of 19. First down. Good protection for Fields, but he throws a pick. Route jumped. It's Chris Abrams-Strain absolutely sending it up the sideline for a pick 6 to open the third quarter. What a play by the young defender entering his 3rd season. He earned superstar depth trait and makes the most of it here, and showing you why he's going to be a big part of this secondary moving forward here in Denver. What a play to put Denver back in front. A couple plays later, Denver has the ball now, still up 28-21. That pass is hauled in by Mecole Hardman. Now Nix keeps it, goes right back to Cooks. He's got some space inside the Pittsburgh 35. A play later, screen setting up, Cooks up to the 25-yard line, and that sets up 3rd down, but Cooks comes out, shaken up on the play. 3 yards to go, and Gilliam, the fullback, is not going to get there. Nice tackle by TJ Watt, but the offense stays on. Handoff to Lauderdale. He gets the first down conversion. 3rd and goal now from the 5 over the middle and caught for another touchdown. The second of the day to Mecole Hardman. And Denver goes up by 2 touchdowns. 4th quarter now, over 9 minutes left to go in regulation. As Fields lost the ball, it's recovered by Chris Abrams-Strain. Another turnover forced off of Fields. And Chris Abrams-Strain is responsible for 2 of those. Late 4th quarter, Pittsburgh trying to come back late in this one. They get a touchdown pass to George Pickens, his 2nd. They fail the 2-point conversion, and the onside kick is recovered by Reggie Gilliam. And that would be it here in Pittsburgh. Opening day goes Denver's way, 35-27. What a performance. The offense really came through. Defense, a couple of nice turnovers forced. This was a fantastic debut for Mecole Hardman, who racks up 2 touchdowns, over 100 receiving yards, and Pat Rodriguez, a touchdown, plus a nice couple of grabs in this game. But we do lose Greg Cooks to a broken rib injury. He is going to miss the next 3 weeks of the regular season. So now we are missing Cooks and Montgomery. In their place, we signed Chuba Hubbard as a free agent for the rest of the regular season. But in week 2, after signing Hubbard, Denver is brought back down to earth. The offense really underperforms. Less than 200 yards of offense for the offense, and the run game was never given a chance. Only 6 carries for Chuba Hubbard, 3 for Bo Nix, and now we lose Damian Lauderdale, our third-string tailback, to a broken toe, meaning 3 of our top 4 running backs are out for a couple of weeks. That takes us to scouting. Our focus in the West is quarterback, and Central we want to focus on defensive end once again, where our scouts are going to be their most efficient. Northeast, we go with outside linebacker to keep up the defensive efforts and add to our pass rush and pass coverage. And we finish off with defensive tackle in Southeast to help us defend the run. But the offense continues to struggle heading into week 3 against the Jets. Bo Nix once again held to below 200 passing yards, and we allow 4 passing touchdowns to Desmond Ridder of all players. We had less than 3 yards per carry in this game. The offense since that first week has been very, very bad. That would take Denver into their first divisional game of the regular season, facing off against the LA Chargers in SoFi Stadium as Greg Cooks returns to our starting lineup on the offense. Both teams come in with a 1-2 record. First drive belongs to LA as Herbert finds Joshua Palmer for a nice first down conversion there. From the 45, Herbert right side and caught by Palmer again. Back-to-back receptions. It comes to a third down. Good protection for Herbert, and he gets it away to Amari Cooper this time for their third first down of their opening drive. Play action. Herbert throws it right to Chris Barnes. Intercepted. Never saw him over the middle. The defense gets another turnover. The Broncos would come out for their first drive. From the 18, giving it to Cooks, and he is going to lose yardage here. That brings up third down and 9. 3-man rush, pass caught to Cooks, spinning off a tackle up to the 35-yard line. More play action. Nix rolls out, heaves it, caught! Cortland Sutton into Chargers territory. Couple plays later, now at their 30-yard line, pass caught, but Hardman stalled shy of the line to gain. Third down and needing 1 yard to go, bursting up the seam. That is Chuba Hubbard. Third down, needing 10. Bo Nix sacked in the backfield by Gabe Wilson. A big loss of 11. Broncos held to a field goal. Seth Stewart, the rookie, through the uprights and good. The Broncos strike first off of the Chris Barnes INT. Just over 9 left to go in the first half as the Chargers are on the move with threatening to score as Joe Alt comes up limping on that play. Fourth down, offense stays out there, and Javonte Williams takes off inside the 5-yard line. The former Bronco continues to play well against his former team. First and goal, Herbert's sacked. Ball comes out, and we somehow can't recover it. Chargers retain possession. 11 yards away on third down. Screen for Ladd McConkey. Back to the 4, but it's fourth and goal. They are held to a field goal attempt. The kick is good, but another flag comes in this game. And once again, it is Riley Moss fouling the kicker, and the drive stays alive for Los Angeles. Second and goal from the 1. Touchdown, Javonte Williams. And off of that penalty, the Chargers have their first lead and their first score. Under 3.5 to go. Play action, Bo Nix up to Greg Cooks. It's 4th and 1. At the 36-yard line, offense stays on the field and converts with that pass to Marvin Mims Jr. Out of the warning. Third down. Floated. Coming back to it and caught. 4th and 2. And this time the offense will settle for a field goal attempt from Stewart. And he is good once again to get the Broncos back within a single point. Still time left to go, though, in the first half for LA as Jonnu Smith turns upfield and has a first down. Empty look. Herbert slings it right side, complete to Palmer. Up inside the 20, but there was a flag down, and it's going to be against the Denver defense for pass interference. LA takes over in the red zone. Herbert extends the play, slings it, and it's intercepted in the end zone. Guess who? Chris Abrams drained, another turnover forced. Make it 3 in the first 4 weeks of his new season. What a play for the young corner. Broncos trying to score prior to half, trailing by a point. That's Stolcich for a first down. No timeouts left for Denver. And now upfield, Courtland Sutton can't get out of bounds. The clock ticks away. Under 10 seconds left to go, and Bo Nix is sacked back at the 34-yard line. And that will lead us to halftime with no timeouts left. It's still 6-7. Bo Nix sacked on the first play of the third quarter. 3rd and 19. Nix taken down again. The 4th sack for LA, the 2nd for Gabe Wilson. Couple drives later, same score. Denver finally on the move. Once again about to score, but Gabe Wilson gets home again for his 3rd sack. Unreal pressure allowed on our quarterback. We are held to a field goal again. Seth Stewart's now 3 for 3 on the day. Pretty good start to his rookie campaign. 1st and 10. Herbert's inside the 35-yard line to Jonnu Smith. Herbert's has time across the 25-yard line to Amari Cooper for a first down. Chargers threatening. Herbert downfield inside the 5. Jonnu Smith once again. It's goal to go from the 3. Javonte Williams diving through defenders. He finds Payton, putting the Chargers back in front late in the 4th quarter in SoFi Stadium. Under 5 minutes left to go in regulation. Bo Nix underneath. That's Pat Rodriguez, the rookie tight end, for the first down. Denver on the move. 3rd down, pocket collapses. Bo Nix taken out by Khalil Mack. Number 6 for this Chargers defense. And Denver elects to punt on 4th and 15, relying on their defense for one stop to get the ball back. We have 3 timeouts, but Javonte Williams will force us to use one with that first down. We come out of the warning. Williams up the middle, another first down. Denver with no timeouts left now. And Williams off the edge, gain of 8. 3rd and 1, game on the line. A first down wins it, and Javonte Williams converts it just across midfield. The Chargers win a close battle at home, 14-9. The offense continues to struggle, under 8 points per game on average these last 3 weeks. Absolutely terrible stuff. The run game is absolutely awful, and Chuba Hubbard 2.5 per carry. Just nothing going right here for the offense. And through 4 weeks, Lowry and Hurts, our first 2 draft picks, have 0 sacks for our defense. Concerning stats right there. But in week 5, Montgomery is finally back. He returns. Will make his Broncos debut in week 5. But McCole Hardman dislocates his shoulder. He will miss this game against the Dolphins. Miami would come in 1-3. Denver also 1-3. Both teams looking for their 2nd win of the year. Here's the first play for the Broncos. Bo Nix intercepted. Jalen Ramsey, a leaping grab, returned up to the 26-yard line. That is not how you want to open the game whatsoever. Dolphins take over. Just outside of the red zone, starting with the run, it's Devon Achane into the red zone now with that 8-yard run. Second down. They fake it. Tua looking for the end zone, batted away, and a flag comes in. Pass interference against the defense again. This time it's Chris Barnes, called for PI. Next play, touchdown, Devon Achane. The Dolphins take full advantage of the Bo Nix pick, and they lead early on 7-0. Broncos, though, threatening in Miami territory as Montgomery takes the edge here in his Broncos debut. 8th carry, 32 yards for him so far, and now a pass complete to Marvin Mims Jr. From the 5-yard line, Bo Nix, right side, enough for a first down to Greg Dulcich, and it's goal to go Denver. Knocking on the door, good protection, Bo Nix, planted, and they mark him shy, a generous spot for the defense. It's 4th and goal. The offense stays out there. Love the aggressiveness, and Montgomery fights his way in for Denver's first score to close the first quarter. Montgomery in his first game with already 9 carries on the first quarter of play. Later on, 5 to go until the half. Denver on the move inside the 5 with that pass to Courtland Sutton. Second and goal. Montgomery dives his way in for a Denver touchdown, his second of the game already. But Miami's not going away anytime soon. Incomplete for Jalen Waddle. Pat Surtain with blanket coverage. Tua, though, finds another man open for a touchdown, and Miami strikes back just before the break. Under 50 seconds left to go here in the first half. Bo Nix throws a strike across the middle. Denver deep in Dolphins territory. 1 timeout left. Good protection. Bo Nix inside the 2 at the 1. That's Troy Franklin. We burn our first timeout. Goal to go. Nix extends and lost the ball in the end zone. Recovered by a defender. They did not give us the touchdown, but the ball crosses the plane, but then it comes loose. And Miami recovers, and once again we fail to score prior to halftime. Tied up at 14 apiece. Halfway through this third quarter, Miami has it across midfield. That is Tyreek Hill with his 4th catch. First down. Tua keeps it, but can't get rid of it. Bobby Brown III picks up a sack as a Dolphin comes up shaken up. 10-yard loss. Tua breaks a tackle, but is taken down on the second try by Chris Abrams-Drain. The loss of 3. 3rd and forever. Tua steps up, scanning, and just has to get rid of it. Defense gets off the field, and then a big 69-yard touchdown to Troy Franklin will put the Broncos back in the driver's seat. 3rd and 5. 4th quarter, Denver still leading by a touchdown. This is Franklin with the catch for a first down conversion. From the 33, Montgomery takes off, left side run. Gain of 11 on his 19th carry. Pretty good debut for Montgomery. And now turning upfield. Touchdown for Troy Franklin. His 2nd of the afternoon. And Denver storms into Miami and takes a 2-touchdown lead. Just over 5 minutes left to go. Here's Tua Tagovailoa trailing back and taken down by Baron Browning, our number 1 pass rusher. It's 3rd and 20. Tua's pass should have been picked and nearly was by Luke Blackstock. Great downfield coverage. Forces 4th down. They go to a screen, and Denver is all over that one. And we come out on top 31-14, your final score What a game for Denver to get back in the win column. A dominant second half right there as Montgomery sparks the offense on the ground over 100 yards, 4.2 per carry, plus 2 first-half touchdowns, while second-year or third-year wide receiver Troy Franklin impresses here in this game with 2 touchdown grabs, a $175 through the air, and a 22 per catch average. Meanwhile, Marvin Lowry picks up his first 2 sacks of his career. Very good stuff across the board for the offense and defense, and because of that, we do move Franklin to the slot wide receiver spot over Marvin Mims to get him some more playing time. Mock Draft 1 sees the Broncos with a top 10 pick at number 9, mocked to draft a power rushing linebacker once again. But the Broncos are once again brought back down to earth after a really good win. Only 7 points against the Rams as we move closer to a high draft pick. Williams goes off for over 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns for LA. And Montgomery only had a 1.8 yards per carry. But there is one positive note here. At least Marvin Lowry gets his 3rd sack, giving him 3 in his last 2 weeks. Production going up for the first-round draft pick. But injuries pile up once again. We lose left guard Ben Powers for 6 weeks to a broken hand. And in week 7, his first game missing this year, we face the 2-4 Patriots, who bolster, like Denver, a top 3 pass defense. They're number 2, we're number 1, and Denver gets back in the win column. A 4th quarter comeback. Drake May throws a pick, Bo Nix throws a pick, but we get the best of the Patriots. The pass defense really steps up, and Montgomery and Cooks get back on track. 10-plus carries for both of our running backs, and a very good average as well, over 4.3 yards per carry for both of our top 2 tailbacks. But even more injuries come in next week. We lose Quinn Maynard, our right guard, and Pat Surtain, the best player on this team, going into a game against the 7-0 undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, our first game against them all year long. They're the best offense in football again. So Denver heads to Arrowhead looking to upset the undefeated Chiefs and hand them their first loss of the year. We start with the run. First play from scrimmage, it's Montgomery, who runs for 6. Back to throw, quick one, slants, caught for a first down by Mims. Good protection for Bo Nix. He dumps it off to Dulcich. He gains 10 and a first down. Strong opening drive for the Broncos. It keeps going with that completion. The 3rd first down to McCole Hardman. We'll keep it in the air. Floated for the end zone. Nearly caught, back pylon off the tip, but it goes incomplete. And Stewart comes out for the field goal to put the Broncos on the board first. Chiefs have it on their first drive from the 50. And Pacheco leaps into a defender, but does have first down yardage. Now he hits the gap. Right side, daylight inside the red zone now for Kansas City. 1st and 10 from the 18. Denver brings a blitz, but he's protected well. It's Jared Wiley, the new tight end here, in place of Travis Kelce, who retired a couple years ago. From the 1, Pacheco leaps into a defender again and is across the plane for a touchdown. And the Chiefs, on their first drive, take the lead. Second half, same score. Chiefs have it driving, and it's Wiley again. Across the 35-yard line, Chiefs in 2+ territory. Play fake. Mahomes slings it. It's Rashee Rice now. Up to the Denver 7. A play later. 2nd and goal over the middle. Touchdown to Jared Wiley. It does not matter who is playing tight end. They will score with this Chiefs playbook. Denver now trails by 2 scores. Pass caught by Pat Rodriguez. He picks up a nice chunk to bring up 3rd down and 2. from the 45, and Denver will not convert. Montgomery tackled short, but Denver stays out there and converts. Greg Dulcich with that first down catch. From the 41, up the middle, Montgomery pinballing off defenders. He picks up 6 yards on that run. Brings up second down. Bo Nix takes off and converts. Denver up to the 27-yard line. Empty look for Bo Nix. Time to throw underneath, turning upfield, first down and more. It's Courtland Sutton for a touchdown. What a play. Just a burst of speed turning that corner. And Denver has their first touchdown of the day. And they will go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. Montgomery met at the goal line and he cannot fight his way in. Nice play by the Chiefs defense to keep them in front by 5 as Pacheco takes off for a first down as we approach the end of this third quarter. 1st and 10. Mahomes should have been picked by Drew Sanders, but he drops it. And the drive continues for Kansas City. Pass floated, and Wiley goes up to get it. What a catch. Fourth quarter now. Chiefs drive continues inside the Denver 40, and now inside their 25. That was Xavier Worthy. Second down, needing 5. They get a whole lot more, up to the 4. And the Chiefs are knocking on the door. Goal to go. Mahomes sidearms it to Wiley. Right side. He is in the end zone for his second touchdown. The Chiefs go back up by 2 touchdowns. Under 5 minutes left to play here in regulation, and Mahomes throws a pick over the middle, and Denver takes over at the 45-yard line. Tyrell Dodson with that turnover, and Denver is not giving up just yet. 1st and 10, screen setting up. It's Montgomery. Poor blocking that time around. Now on second down. Defender falls over in pursuit of Bo Nix as his pass is caught, but a flag comes in, and this one goes against the Chiefs. Roughing the passer, tack on 15, automatic first down. From the 22, over the middle and caught. Pat Rodriguez continues to get involved here offensively in his rookie campaign. Now sweeping left, it's Montgomery turning the corner. Great run right there. It's Denver to their 2-yard line. Now a couple plays later, backed up to the 5, and Bo Nix finds Mecole Hardman for a touchdown. And this game is not quite over. Under 2 to go. Denver looking for a stop. Pacheco wrapped up by Dotson. And that brings up 3rd and 4. Denver looks to force a punt. Tackled short as Hollywood Brown. And Denver has a chance. No timeouts. 1:44 to go. Trailing by 5. Broncos need a touchdown as Franklin gets out of bounds on that first down play. Second down. Outside again to Franklin. Back-to-back grabs here on the last drive in regulation. Bo Nix under duress, and he is going down. Just the second sack for KC, and Denver has to hurry up. 4-man rush. Nix looks to extend the play and fires a strike into Franklin again. Couple of big grabs by him here late as Nix is taken down for a 3rd time. Second on the drive. Clock still counting down, under 30 seconds left to go. Nix extending, throwing the ball out of a sack. Comes to a 3rd down, 18 yards away from a first. Bo Nix loads it up down the field. He's got Hobson inside the 10. No timeouts and the time runs out. Denver had a chance, but no timeouts. They couldn't stop the clock in time, and the Chiefs hang on to win. 16-21, a heartbreaking loss. We really had a chance there. Despite one of Bo Nix's best games all year long, Denver falls, and the Chiefs are now 8-0 on the year, halfway through the season. The run game in this one was non-existent. Montgomery, 2.4 yards per carry, and this defense got completely burned by Jared Wiley of all players. 2 touchdowns for him. And even worse news, Greg Dulcich out for 5 weeks. Marvin Mims out for 4 weeks. Injuries pile up for Denver week after week. We just cannot catch a break this year. And so with Denver 3-5 on the year through 8 games, it was time to give these younger guys some more playing time. And that means Courtland Sutton now on the block and traded away to the Patriots for a 2027 4th round pick as our 3rd most productive wide receiver. We also want to give Kelvin Davis playing time, the rookie middle linebacker. And to do that, we trade away Tyrell Dotson to the Seahawks for a 3rd round pick in this next draft as well. And despite injury, we do re-sign Marvin Mims, at 24 years old, to a 3-year, $29 million contract to extend him and bring him back these next couple of years. We also bring back young linebacker Drew Sanders, who dropped that pick on Mahomes earlier in that game. So through 8 games, Denver ends up with the 31st offense, second to last, the 26th best passing offense, the 20th ranked rushing offense, but top 3 in points allowed per game and passing yards allowed per game. So this defense is way better than they were a year ago, but that run defense is still god-awful. And through 8 games, only 5 INTs from this defense. Very different story compared to last year. Only 1 recovery on fumbles, and we just are not really forcing too many turnovers in these sim games. And into week 9, we lose both Baron Browning and Troy Franklin as well. We are missing 6 starters going into this game against the 5-3 Jaguars, and they would go on to absolutely decimate us in the second half. We lose 38-7. 3 picks from Bo Nix, only 1 touchdown. Montgomery gets absolutely silenced on the ground, and the defense allows 3 passing touchdowns from Trevor Lawrence, 2 of which go to Brian Thomas Jr., and Jalen Hurts ends up with his first sack, and that's his first in his career. And he needs some playing time, so the Broncos would elect to move him to rush defensive tackle in place of Zach Allen the rest of the year, and that move pays dividends. In week 10, Hurts picks up 3 sacks in his first true starting caliber game in terms of downs played, but Geno Smith, with a perfect passer rating, leads the Raiders to a victory, just their 3rd in 2026. But Jalen Hurts does win AFC Defensive Player of the Week here in Week 10 with that 3-sack performance. But the losing streak would extend to 4, with the Chiefs sweeping us this year with a dominant game here, 35-13. The Denver offense continues to be terrible. Mahomes throws for 3 touchdowns, just a completely dominant game by him, and the offense just cannot move the ball week by week. And now we lose both Baron Browning and Greg Dulcich once again in practice injuries. In Week 12, it is Panthers at 6-5 on the road to face the 3-8 Denver Broncos in Mile High Stadium. First drive for Carolina, up to the Denver 41. Motion on 3rd and 4. And Bryce Young throws a strike in for a first down to Deontay Johnson to keep the drive alive. Then Jonathan Brooks on the carry. First down, gain of 11. From the 25, sidearm throw over the middle, and Bryce Young completes that pass to Tyler Lockett, now here with the Panthers. 3rd down, underneath to Johnson, tackled shy of the end zone, and Denver holds Carolina to a field goal attempt, which is good. Panthers strike first here in Denver, Colorado. Broncos on the move. Here's a handoff for a first down to Montgomery, his 6th rush, and now he's over 30-plus yards. But, of course, He is shaken up on the play. Injuries just not letting up this year for the Broncos as we go to a screen pass for Greg Cooks to give us a first down conversion. Red zone offense now for Denver. Underneath, upfield, inside the 5 is McCole Hardman. Goal to go, Denver. From the 6-yard line. Checks it down, and it's dropped by Greg Cooks. Back to throw. Nix extending, sidearm, crossbody, incomplete. And the Panthers hold Denver to a 4th down field goal attempt. Good from Stewart's. Offense here in the red zone, not very good all year long for the Broncos. Touchdowns don't come easy, as Carolina is threatening here late in the first half. 3 yards out. Young. Sacked in the backfield. A second of the half for Jamian Hurts. No timeouts left for Carolina. 3rd and goal. Young floats it out of bounds. And they are held to a field goal attempt heading into halftime. Panthers will lead, but only by 3 points. Just over 7.5 left to go in the third quarter. Denver has it, 3rd and 6. Pass, caught, broken tackle, fighting for a first down. That is the rookie tight end, Pat Rodriguez. First down, and we gain 9 more with Troy Franklin through the air. Inches to go, outside Montgomery, he picks up 11. Very next play, 1st and 10. Same call, same result, 11 yards for a touchdown. David Montgomery. Run game looking solid here against Carolina as we go late third quarter. Denver leading by 4. Panthers inside the red zone. Bryce Young off of the crossbar, incomplete with pressure from the rookie Hurts. 3rd and 1. Jonathan Brooks inside the 5 for a first down. Knocking on the door. Brooks gets in this time. He finds Payton, and Carolina takes the lead. Later on, Carolina with a touchdown pass to Tyler Lockett, and they take a 10-point lead here. Under 5 to go. Denver looking for a comeback here at home in Mile High Stadium as that 3rd down pass is out of bounds. 4th down, 18 yards to go. Can the Broncos find some life? Bo Nix can't even get rid of it. Sacked at the 8-yard line by the rookie Garrison Moorhead, who we thought about drafting. And the Panthers take advantage with a touchdown to Gerald Everett. And the Panthers win 27-17. And the losing streak moves to 5 games in a row. A loss of 10. Bryce Young with a pretty solid passing day. 23 for 28. Only a $143 passing yards for Bo Nix. But we do learn the depth traits from a couple of our rookies, with Pat Rodriguez being at star development at 22 years old, and Jamian Hurts also being a star dev player as well. But Rodriguez would move into the starting job the rest of the year over Greg Dulcich. He's just a better player, I think, more athletic, and will be better in a couple of years. We make our final extension, bringing in Bobby Brown for 1 or 2 more years. We'll see what happens with him. But we get our first win in multiple weeks, taking down the Niners 24-9. Losing streak broken. Great game from Bo Nix. 3 touchdowns, no INTs, as McCole Hardman and Troy Franklin both score touchdowns here in this one. And our defense ends up with 6 sacks against Brock Purdy, with several coming from Baron Browning and Zach Gallen. And Brock Purdy underperforms in this one as the Broncos are finally back in the win column. In Week 15, we hit rock bottom. 42-0. The Buffalo Bills absolutely decimate us. 6 passing touchdowns from Josh Allen to only 1 INT. as Bo Nix has a rating of 21.9. 84 yards passing in a complete game, picked twice, no touchdowns. Just absolutely horrible. Keon Coleman dominates with 3 touchdowns. Shakir gets 2. That takes us to Week 16 against the Las Vegas Raiders, a rematch of an earlier loss a couple weeks ago. They come in 6-8, fourth quarter action. Denver leading by 3. Very close game here. Now rolling out, Bo Nix slings it right to a defender. Trayvon Merrick with the INT. That is not how you want to start a fourth quarter, that you are actually leading for once. The Raiders take over at the 25-yard line. Play action for Geno Smith, dumped off, and Michael Mayer fights for first down yardage. Smith has 2 INTs this late here in this game, but they're still going to find themselves in the lead with this run by Jason Ford, a drafted player. And I guess he's their new number 1 tailback here in Las Vegas. Raiders lead by 4. Next drive for Denver, and Bo Nix is sacked for a loss of 9. Third down, 17 yards to go. Screen play for Montgomery, not even close. The Raiders take over at the 47-yard line. Geno Smith hit as he throws, and he throws a pick. It's Chris Barnes returning it outside the numbers at the foot race, and he is gone for a pick 6. Our second of the year. Chris Barnes shows off the speed, the return ability, and Denver is back in the lead halfway through the fourth quarter. Great pressure from a couple of defenders, and Chris Barnes, sure-handed, takes it the other way. 24-21. Geno Smith, next drive, finds Brock Bowers down the field across the 50 for a big first down chunk. And now on the ground, great play on Ford, made by the rookie Jamian Hurts. The loss of 2. Next play, Ford picks up 2 yards, but is met by Browning for only the short gain. Brings up 3rd and 10. Smith finds Davante Adams across the 30-yard line. The drive continues for Las Vegas. Play fake, pressure, gets to Geno Smith. That's the rookie, Kelvin Davis. One of his first starts all year. Big play right there. It's a loss of 8. They hand it off, and Ford will get 10 yards back to bring up 3rd down. From the Denver 25, Smith extends the play, lofts it out of reach for his targets. It's 4th down. They will take a game-tying field goal, up and good. And the game is tied at 24 apiece. 1:01 left to go. Denver has it, and Bo Nix nearly gets picked off. From the 15, under pressure, Crosby will force that throwaway. That's 3rd down for the Broncos. They won't even try to convert. They just run the ball and force a timeout to be used by the Raiders. Las Vegas has it from the 48-yard line, underneath, and caught by Peoples-Jones. Now here in Las Vegas. No more timeouts, but wide open. It's Brock Bowers into Denver territory at the 16-yard line. 3 seconds left to go, and they walk the game off with a field goal, and Denver falls to 4-11 with 2 games left on the year. A heartbreaking defeat and one of our last games against a rival in the AFC West. Just too many fourth quarter mistakes. Bo Nix, 2 touchdowns, and despite 3 picks off of Geno Smith and a pick 6 included, we can't get the win. And the Broncos would trade a win for a loss in the last 2 weeks of the regular season to once again finish with a 5-12 record. Good for 13th place in the conference. The offense would end up as the worst in the entire league at less than 16 points per game. The pass offense was third to last, and the run game was improved a little bit, but not by much. Only 80 yards per game, with Montgomery missing a couple of weeks to start the year. The defense did trail off towards the end, allowing the 13th least points, but the pass defense, alongside with Pat Surtain, Luke Blackstock, and Chris Abrams-Drain, ends up being the second best pass defense in terms of yards in the league. But the run defense is definitely another area of concern, as they would finish number 26th in the NFL. At this stage, it became clear that Bo Nix was no longer the right guy for the starting job at quarterback. 23 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, less than 190 yards per game, and a rating far worse than any of his previous seasons. He ends up taking 36 sacks and only goes with a 6.7 average yards per attempt on the year, with less than 3,300 passing yards. Even though our ground game did look better at times compared to last year, there really was no noticeable improvement with David Montgomery as the tailback. I'm starting to believe that it might have been the offensive line, and that our center and left guard need to be replaced for us to find our stride on the ground. Our top receiver was McCole Hardman, just below 700 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. Marvin Mims had 5. Rodriguez ends up with over 500 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Pretty solid year for the rookie tight end, who was only starting for the last 6 or so weeks of the year, as Troy Franklin hauls in 7 touchdowns. If you don't recall, we did trade away Cortland Sutton at the deadline, so his numbers are not included here. Dulcich definitely had way less of a role this year compared to last year. Rookie wideout Cam Hobson ends up with 9 receptions for 148 yards, and he does end up with star development. Blocking-wise, Rasheed Walker gave up 13 sacks, while McGlinchey gave up 11, so I think our tackles definitely need to be replaced or improved upon. I think the interior was pretty solid in terms of pass blocking, but run blocking I think is a big question mark as we move into our next off season. Chris Barnes, 125 tackles. He was not re-signed, but still has a chance to be if we bring him back in free agency. Baron Browning, who missed several weeks due to injury, ends up with 9 sacks on the year to lead the way, but Jamian Hurts puts together a really solid second half of his year and puts up 7 sacks, with Zach Gallen at 4.5, and rookie linebacker Marvin Lowry at 4. Chris Barnes had the most interceptions with 6, Abrams-Drain had 4, Timo Barber had 2, but Blackstock and Surtain only had 1 each. A big drop-off from a year ago, as our rookie kicker Seth Stewart actually had a really good rookie year, going 20 for 23, 86% on field goals, and only missing 1 extra point because it was blocked. With the Broncos finishing 5-12, they would end up with the 7th overall selection in the next NFL draft, right now mocked to take an outside linebacker, edge power rusher Larry Ridley. With Bo Nix regressing in his 3rd campaign as the starting quarterback, there were 3 top 5 projected quarterbacks, which would become one of our focal points entering the offseason, the number 1 quarterback being Lane Patterson, an improvising quarterback from Hawaii at 21 years old. Good spiral, could use some work at recognizing pressure, but does avoid sacks by throwing the ball away, is good in and outside of structured pockets, and has a nearly perfect compact motion throwing-wise. He's got elite to great throw power, great to good strength, decent speed, really good acceleration, agility, and change of direction, with A break sack, B awareness, really good short accuracy, throw on the run and under pressure, but unknowns in terms of deep and medium accuracy. So he would become one of our top targets in the next draft. The next top quarterback would be Bryson Blake out of Washington State, 22 years old, 6'5", so 3 inches taller than Patterson, with the strong arm archetype, another top 5 projected quarterback with a beautiful spiral, but does get happy feet inside the pocket when no pressure's coming. He does also avoid sacks by throwing the ball away, but most of his success comes inside of the pocket with a lightning quick release. He's got elite to great strength and throw power, but marginal to poor speed. Not much of an athlete here, and his accuracies are probably a bit worse than Patterson's are. The only other draft-worthy quarterback was Cody Rushing, a field general from Oregon State. Another guy that has a good spiral, stands tall in the pocket, always aware of pressure, avoids sacks by throwing the ball away, and plays well inside and outside of the pocket with a fast over-the-top motion. Great to good throw power with solid, decent speed, but not the best athlete compared to Lane Patterson. Again, a top 5 projected pick with A, accuracy over the middle, A, stamina, B, play action, awareness, and under pressure. Every other rating definitely needs to be scouted. But Denver would also consider looking to draft a superstar offensive talent at a skill position, including Connor Peters, the top receiver on the draft board. A 5'11 deep threat, 21 years old, from LSU, with C, catch in traffic, A, deep route, and B, release. He is a round 1 projection, needs to work on concentration drops, but has good body control on sidelines, fights for every single inch, will climb the ladder for big catches, avoids big hits, excels at creating yards after the catch, and shows good discipline. He's got great to good speed, is a really solid overall athlete, and so far his ratings look pretty good, but still needs to be scouted further. But there was also former Sooner Broderick Blanton, a 21-year-old 5'11 playmaker, also a round 1 projection. Same exact player notes as Connor Peters, with only decent to marginal speed, but otherwise is a pretty good athlete and has A, ball carrier vision, B, catching, B, spec catch, but not much of a deep route runner. Still, again, needs to be scouted like Peters does too at 40%. But with our tackles being our worst offensive linemen, could tackle also be a spot to look at? We got the top left tackle here, Rhett Forden, a 6'5", 311, agile player out of LSU, has a good motor, shows good discipline with A, awareness, A, impact blocking. A fantastic athlete all around with great speed, great strength, great agility, as a, really big player with a pass block finesse, run block finesse, run block, stamina. Everything looks pretty solid here except for pass block power and run block power. But there are also a couple of really good right tackles. Dominic Ballantyne from San Diego State, another agile player here, 75% scouted with elite to great speed, but worse strength than Rhett Forden, but really good agility across the board. And he's got really good awareness, run block finesse, run block, pass block finesse, lead block is pretty good, but there are injury concerns with him. Then you have a power right tackle in Jamal Shepard from Alabama. 21 years old, he weighs 30 more pounds than Rhett Forden does, and he's got elite to great strength, so is probably just a stronger player than those last 2 prospects, with really good awareness, pass block power, lead block, pass block, impact blocking, run block power. He's probably better than Dominic Ballantyne. And there were potential early second-round options as well, like Jalen Dillard, a round 1 to 2 projection, more of a pass blocker at right tackle from Oklahoma, with, a pretty poor athletic profile compared to the last 3 prospects that we looked at, but A, awareness, just really good pass block overall, with good injury, impact block, lead block, and the, overall run block rating, but does got to work on the finesse and power and stamina. Just a few more tackles for you, including Jamie McManus, a pass-protecting left tackle out of Stanford, with good to solid speed, but marginal to even poor strength, with good awareness, pass block overall, run block is not that bad, and his injury concerns aren't very high compared to Ballantyne. The final top tackle is Michael Lawrence, who does lack some discipline and will have some avoidable penalties as a 6'6", pass-protecting left tackle, but speed and strength, not really his forte compared to the top couple of players at his position, but he's got the highest injury rating of any tackle at the top of this board. Good awareness, good pass blocking skills. Run block, though, is a concern. And how about one more receiver, Trevor Simmons, who has the exact same player notes as the first two wideouts, except he does lack discipline and will not be able to avoid some penalties. He's a physical receiver, so a different archetype than the first two players, with elite to great strength, great to good jumping and agility and chain of direction with, solid speed, B catch in traffic, B release, C short route, C deep route. Definitely an option there if we want to go with a second round pick at receiver. With offense out of the way, it's time for a look at defensive tackle, where you have a couple of options here on the first 1 to 2 days of the draft, because our run defense was one of the worst, and if we want to improve it, defensive tackle has to become a spot to really focus on. Luke Rutherford, the top defensive tackle, as a power rusher out of Georgia. C block shed, really good physicals across the board, with A power moves, A play rec, and B tackling. Pretty much like a overall really good player, but has to work on those finesse moves and the block shedding. So might not help you out initially against the ground game, but maybe in a couple of years, if he has a high depth trait, could definitely become one of those superstar talents. But there was also another power rusher right behind him, Nick Herrick from Florida, who is arguably a better player with a better athletic profile compared to the guy above him, with B awareness, B play rec, B power moves, B finesse moves, C block shed. Just a really good overall player, but does have some injury concerns with a C to F grade at that attribute. The only run stopper available in the first 2 days of the draft would be Stephon Hopkins, a run stopper out of Louisville. And we don't even know what his block shed grade is, but we do know that he's going to have elite to great speed and great to good strength. Just a really good athlete across the board with A play rec, B tackling, C pursuit, C awareness. Probably has a B to A block shed rating, but not really sure until we scout him further. The Broncos would end up with only one Pro Bowler in year 3, with Baron Browning as the #1 right outside linebacker in the conference. But nobody else on defense or offense would make it this time around. And just like a year ago, Patrick Mahomes would go on to win the MVP award over Dak Prescott and Lamar Jackson. And for the AFC yearly awards, no Broncos would win Offensive Rookie or Defensive Rookie of the Year, and the only award that a Bronco would win would be the Best Linebacker award, with Baron Browning being pretty much our best player on the season. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings end up on top of the football world, taking down the New York Jets 31-28 in the 2026 title game, with J.J. McCarthy as the Super Bowl MVP. This was their first title. Congrats to Minnesota. And that would be it for the Year 3 Broncos. A lot of holes to fill, a lot of players that might be on their way out. This team has a long way to go after back-to-back 5-12 years, and now looking for a potential change at quarterback, entering their third offseason here in this Madden 25 rebuild. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this new format in this series, but that will be it for Year 3. What do you think of our first round pick in Marvin Lowry, or our other couple of picks in Jamie and Hurts and Pat Rodriguez and Cam Hobson? What do you think of the development of these corners becoming the second best secondary in the entire league, at least based on stats? And what do you think this team has to work on and focus on entering their next offseason, guys? Leave your thoughts down below. Please like the video and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Have a great day.